is Citrix Workspace Cloud. It's a umbrella offering, or the name Citrix Workspace Cloud rather is the umbrella offering. They have multiple things in here. They have things like Dropbox replacement. They have some other things for doing MDM on iPhones, Androids, etc. Today the one we'll be looking at is Lifecycle Management, which is an orchestration engine. And essentially it allows you to automate processes within your environment. And it's kind of neat from the standpoint that it doesn't have to be your on-premise environment necessarily. It works with on-prem, such as vSphere, Xen Server, but it also works with cloud-based services like Amazon and Azure as well. So once you have your blueprint, as they call it, which is really just a recipe, set up within the product here, it'll automatically push out your settings to whichever cloud you want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into the lifecycle management, and I'll show you what we have set up here. So the blueprint catalog is where I guess our end users or customers will go to find our recipe, our blueprint as Citrix calls it. And obviously you can see here the Citrix solutions that are listed. If I scroll down, you'll see there are other solutions listed as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here. I'm just going to deploy the blueprint quickly so you can see what a customer would experience. So ultimately, the customer's not going to see, this is my admin interface. There's a lot of things here that are just for us. What the customer's going to see is basically deploy on the ProfileUnity POC. And this is where the process will start for the customer. So I'll say begin the deployment. We'll just call this ProfileUnity Proof of Concept. And I already have a resource location set up. Basically, for our environment, I'm using our QA vSphere on-premise. But for a customer, if you wanted to do a quick demo in the cloud, you could use Azure, you could use Amazon. If you had Xen Server, if you had vSphere, whatever environment you want to use it in, you would configure this within the Citrix Workspace Cloud system so that it would be available in this drop-down box. And our blueprint is actually going to create two machines for us for our proof of concept. It's going to build out a domain controller, and it's also going to build out a Windows member server running the ProfileUnity management console. So we'll say next to this, and now I get to pick my template. Since I'm using vSphere for our test here, this is actually talking to our QA environment vSphere server in the Atlanta office, and I'm just going to select a host. And in order to make this work on VMware, what you have to do is provide a, in this case, a Windows 2012 R2 template image. And all you have to do is very simply sysprep the image so that it's available for use within the Citrix Workspace Cloud here. Now, the nice thing about this is that if you use Azure or if you use the Amazon cloud, they provide the base image for you. So if a customer is looking to do a very quick proof of concept setup, if they use one of those public clouds, some of the work's already been done for them. And all it's going to do is ask me the number of CPUs I want to give it, the amount of memory, disk space. I can customize the networking. And now I have to fill in the local administrator account on the box so that it can actually talk to it and do the magic, so to speak, of the blueprint. And that one's going to be for the domain controller, and this one's going to be for the ProfileUnity management console. Again, same process. Select the host in our vSphere environment. The template's already chosen here. It's already been named, so we'll just go ahead and fill in the requirements for the rest of it. Again, the local administrator password. Sure I got that right, yep. And we're ready to go. I'm going to say next. The last little bit I have to do here is fill in the details for the two servers that are going to be created. So it automatically fills in a lwlpoc.demo domain name. The customer's welcome to change that. They're welcome to change the local admin account if they want to. It is going to prompt them for the password that they want to use for the domain controller as well as the other systems. And that's really all that I have to fill in to get this going was the administrator passwords. The rest of the values that are defaulted are set to go. Again, if the customer wants to change them for whatever reason, if they happen to have an lwlpoc.demo domain already, I can't imagine why, but if they did, they can certainly change it here to avoid a collision. And we'll say next. Don't want to save this. And that's it. When I hit deploy, it's going to start building out the systems in the background. And let's see here, it should show me deployments. There we go. So you can see there's a whole list of steps this is going to do. Everything from creating a domain controller. If you want to see the steps, you can obviously see them on the screen now. We can run through a few of them. It's going to rename the computer. It's going to set the admin password. It's going to create the domain controller. It's going to come down here. It's going to create an OU. It's going to create a group in the OU for ProfileUnity. It'll create users for our test accounts. And then it'll start creating the management console. Again, it'll create the domain member. It goes through all the steps. And the most interesting part about this from our perspective is that not only is this going to set up the domain controller and the member server, this is also going to download ProfileUnity. It's going to install ProfileUnity, and it's going to configure ProfileUnity such that when this recipe or blueprint is completed, all the user has to do is take a client system, join it to the new domain, and they're up and running with ProfileUnity. We can click on, and I can show you what the result looks like. Here we go. You can say get deployment report, and you can see all the steps that we looked at in the previous blueprint have been checked off of this one, obviously, because they are complete at this point. If I come over here to our vSphere environment, you'll see that right now it's provisioning this LWL POC DC2, and you can see the task down here. It's cloning the virtual machine. And we can go ahead and log in to one of these machines. Let's grab to the domain controller to begin with here. This is going to pop up. There we go. First time you log into both of these machines, it's going to present you with a text document that explains what's required to actually complete the demonstration with a blueprint. So here's the text document that pops up, and all you have to do to actually start using this blueprint once it's been deployed is to follow these simple 5 steps at the top of this. So configure a client system to use the DNS server, join it to the domain, move the computer account into the OU, and reboot, and you're ready to log in. So I have a Windows 8 virtual machine here. This is not part of the blueprint. This is one that I built myself. Customers are welcome to use laptops, desktops, VMs, anything that supports ProfileUnity. So we're going to go ahead and hop into our Windows 8 machine here. And we're going to follow the steps that are indicated in the help file. All right, so let's go back over and look at our help document, and I'll follow them verbatim here. So the first thing to do is we need to configure the client system to use DNS server 10.0.41.126. So we'll go ahead and configure that. Okay, that's done. And then we're going to join the domain, lwlpoc2.demo. And before I reboot this, I'm actually going to go ahead and do the final step in my little help file here, which says move the client system account into the ProfileUnity organizational unit. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this guy so that my desktop will load on this. So there's my machine. I'm just going to move this into the OU. So move this in the ProfileUnity OU. Great, and we're set. All right, now I can reboot. And that's it. We're ready to log in and have ProfileUnity run on this machine as soon as it restarts. Now, I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I would like to try deployment in the Amazon or the Azure cloud to see how easy that would be for a customer test drive. All right, so part of the blueprint created test users as well. So I'm going to log in as user 1, and the help document had the password in it, which is ProfileUnity 1 exclamation point for user 1. And now as this guy logs in, if this is creating the VHD right now for profile disk, it's also redirecting my documents and desktops for the template that was configured for ProfileUnity. So once you have your blueprint, as they call it, which is really just a recipe, there's a whole list of steps this is going to do. It's going to rename the computer, it's going to set the admin password, it's going to create the domain controller, it's going to create an OU, it's going to create a group in the OU for ProfileUnity, it'll create users for our test accounts, and then it'll start creating the management console. It goes through all the steps.
For more information on the Citrix Lifecycle Management CWC Blueprint for ProfileUnity with FlexApp, please contact sales@liquidwarelabs.com.